It's funny. It's almost like our bodies hold on to these secret memories of things that have happened to us, events that our conscious minds might have completely forgotten. Well, it turns out that's not just a feeling, it's actually happening. Okay, so think about this for a second. Have you ever gotten a cut and then months later gotten another one in the exact same place and it felt like it healed way faster? Or maybe you've dealt with a pesky rash like eczema or psoriasis that vanishes for years only to reappear in the very same spot. What's going on there? Well, you're not going crazy, and it is definitely not your imagination. This is a real biological phenomenon, and scientists have a name for it: inflammatory memory. Our tissues, right down to the cellular level, can learn from their past. Now, this idea is part of a bigger concept called trained immunity. But let's be clear. This isn't the kind of immunity you're probably thinking of with antibodies and T cells. No, this is a different kind of memory altogether, and it's all driven by epigenetics. The easiest way to think about it is like a software update for your cells. It's not changing the hardware, that's your DNA, but it's tweaking the operating system so your cells can react better and faster to future stress. And this is where things get really, really weird. I mean, think about it. Our skin cells, for example, are constantly turning over, dividing and replacing themselves. And according to everything we thought we knew, every time a cell divides, those epigenetic marks, those little software tweaks, are supposed to be wiped clean. It's a complete factory reset. So how in the world can a memory of some rash you had years ago survive that constant cycle? How does it last a lifetime? That was the giant puzzle scientists had to solve. So, to crack this case, a team of researchers designed a pretty incredible experiment, one that would track these memories not just for weeks or months, but over the entire lifespan of an animal. What they did was they took some mice and gave them a single short-term inflammatory event on their skin, kind of like a bout of psoriasis. Then they just let it heal completely and waited. They checked in on the skin's stem cells after 30 days, then again at 1 year, which is midlife for a mouse, and finally at 2 years, basically the end of the mouse's life, to see what those cells still remembered from that one event years earlier. Their mission was to hunt for what they called epigenetic bookmarks. You can literally picture it like someone putting a bookmark in a giant instruction manual. These bookmarks keep certain pages, certain parts of the DNA, propped open and ready to be read long after the reason you opened the book is gone. And what they found was fascinating. It wasn't just one type of memory. Oh no, they found two very, very different kinds. Okay, take a look at this heat map. It really shows the first big clue they found. See all those little peaks? Each one is an epigenetic bookmark, a memory. And just like you'd expect, over that first year, you can see most of those peaks just shrink away. The memories faded, and the cells went back to business as usual. But, and this is a huge but, not all of them did. A small but really significant fraction, about 10% of those memories, they just refused to fade. They were stuck. So this basically split the memories into two totally different camps. On the left, you've got your fading memory. These are the bookmarks that, as expected, fell out over time. But on the right, you have the stubborn memory. These bookmarks held on for dear life. They were there for the entire life of the animal. Okay, so what was the deal with this stubborn 10%? The researchers checked all the obvious culprits. Maybe these were just old cells that don't divide much. Nope. Maybe they were hiding out in some special protected area of the skin. Nope, that wasn't it either. The memory was everywhere in pretty much the entire stem cell population. The answer had to be something way more fundamental. And the answer, as it turned out, wasn't hiding in some weird group of cells. It was written right there in the DNA sequence, the actual code, at the location of the memory itself. So how do you find a tiny pattern hidden in billions of letters of DNA code? Well, you bring in the big guns, artificial intelligence. They trained a deep learning model to look at the DNA sequence of all the bookmarks and taught it to find the difference between the ones that faded and the ones that stuck around for life. And wouldn't you know it, the AI found the smoking gun. The secret to a lifelong memory wasn't some super complicated protein or pathway. It was a surprisingly simple feature in the code itself. All the stubborn, lifelong memories were located in areas of the DNA that were packed with a specific two-letter sequence, C right next to G. Scientists call these CpG dinucleotides. And it turns out these CpG sites create this amazing, self-reinforcing memory loop. It's so cool. Here's how it works. First, that initial stress from the inflammation forces open the DNA at these CpG-rich spots. Second, This process physically scrapes off these little chemical off switches from the DNA, leaving it permanently demethylated. Third, this new naked state is super stable and it attracts other proteins that come in and help prop the DNA open. And fourth, this whole setup just reinforces itself, passing that "I'm open for business" memory down through every single cell division, completely resisting that factory reset. This model from the study kind of puts it all together visually. Once inflammation activates one of these special CpG-rich sites, the DNA sequence itself creates a lock, a stable, open state that simply refuses to close back down. This is it. This is how the memory survives that cellular factory reset. It's a permanent bookmark, anchored in place by the DNA code itself. So this is all fascinating stuff, right? But what does it actually mean for us, for our health? Well, as you can imagine, a memory system this powerful and this permanent is a classic double-edged sword. On the one hand, this memory can be amazing. The researchers found that because of this memory, the skin of their old mice could heal wounds as quickly and efficiently as when they were young. It's like having a permanent healing upgrade. But there's a flip side. This exact same mechanism is what drives chronic diseases like psoriasis to come back again and again. A past inflammatory event can leave a permanent scar, priming a tissue for future diseases, maybe even cancer. The researchers themselves put it perfectly in their conclusion. They said that these specific DNA sequences orchestrate persistent poise, profoundly affecting tissue fitness. It's a fundamental biological rule that really shapes how our bodies age and respond to everything the world throws at us. So, when you get right down to it, whether our body is holding on to the gift of faster healing or the grudge of a chronic disease, it's all being written by the same biological pen. It's a permanent note, scribbled right there in our DNA. And this brilliant research leaves us with one huge and kind of mind-blowing question for the future. We now understand the code. We know how these lifelong epigenetic memories get written and stored. So, what's next? Could we one day learn how to become editors? Could we figure out how to erase the bad memories, the ones that drive disease, while keeping all the good ones? The possibilities are just incredible to think about.